This is the continuation of AWS Elastic Load Balancer or ELB lab demonstration. In the previous video, we resolved our issue by enabling traffic group stickiness, and sometimes we call this sticky sessions. We still have another problem. Yes, our AWS ELB is working and the traffic are forwarded to both EC2s. Stickiness is working as well. But these two EC2s, Styx Blog 1 and Styx Blog 2, have different database. You know, web servers should share a database in web application load balancing environment. And this is what we're gonna demonstrate in this video. I am now here in Amazon RDS or Relational Database Services. Now, we're gonna create our database. So I'm here in the dashboard, the homepage, and I'm gonna click database, and I will, let me X this out. I'm gonna create a database by clicking this button. Okay, now this is how we create a Postgres capable Aurora database. First, I'm gonna select standard create, then I'm gonna select Aurora Postgres compatible. Now, as we scroll down, templates, I will use either production or dev test, but we're gonna use dev test. Now under settings, what I will change is the DB cluster identifier. We're going to name this Styx DB. There you go. Now the master username, we're gonna keep it Postgres, and the master password, I'm gonna add a password test1234. Minimum 8 characters. So test1234 on both fields. Okay, so under cluster storage configuration options, I will just keep the default Aurora standard. Okay, and under instance configuration, I will select serverless version 2. And why is that? Well, because we don't want to be charged in a high cost, so we're gonna use serverless. I will change the minimum ACU. ACU stands for Aurora Compute Unit. I will just input the minimum, which is 0.5 gig. And under availability and durability, I will just keep the defaults. Connectivity, we're not gonna connect this to EC2 yet, so I will select the first option. Network type will be IP version 4. We're not gonna use IP version 6. The VPC will just use the default. Okay, how about the security group or the firewall? Actually, I created already a dedicated security group for our RDS. So I named this Aurora-SG. So we're gonna use this. Okay, and the rest will be all default. Now I'm gonna create our database. Okay, as you can see, it's starting to create our StyxDB identifier. Now, this may take a short while. Now, while waiting, what we're gonna do is we're gonna test our applications. So I have multiple tabs here. Okay, the first tab I have here, well, first tab on the right is the web application that is via ELB. As you can see, the URL, Styx ELB. Okay, and this is what we've been using in the previous video. If I hit refresh, it maintains on the first EC2. Look at this, vulnerable XSS blog 1. Okay, as you can see, even if I hit refresh hundreds or thousands of times, it will be persisted or sticked to blog 1. Now, I also have a dedicated tab for EC1 and EC2, the Styx blog 1, as you can see here, and the Styx blog 2. There you go. Okay, now our problem is Styx blog 1 and 2 doesn't share database. That's why we're creating a centralized RDS, and I'm gonna connect this RDS to both EC2. Okay, so even if they are load balanced and a user is accessing a different web application, they will share the same data in our database. Now, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna disable the stickiness, okay, for testing purposes. And okay, so this is the Styx ELB page, and the stickiness again is not configured anywhere in our ELB. Okay, the stickiness is actually configured in our traffic group. So under listeners and rules tabs, I'm gonna click Styx TG, and it will redirect us to this page, our traffic group page. And under attributes tab, this is where we will see the stickiness is still turned on. I'm gonna click edit now, and then I will disable stickiness or our sticky sessions. I'm gonna click save changes, and there you go. Okay, as you can see, stickiness or sticky session is now turned off. If I go back to our Styx ELB web application, if I hit refresh, okay, there you go. As you can see, we are now load balanced to both EC2 and EC2 Styx 1 block, Styx block 1 and Styx block 2 EC2 instances. So the load balancing is back to normal without sticky session. Now, what I will do next is, well, first let's verify the status of our RDS. Okay, so it's still not created. Like what I mentioned, this may take a short while. As you can see, the status of our StyxDB instance is still creating. Now, while waiting for this, what I would like to share is I also have two instance connect. One is our first EC2, which is the Styx block 1, and I also have the second instance connects, the Styx block 2. Now, aside from that, I also have a session, a putty session to Styx block 1, because what we're gonna do is we're going to log into the container. As a matter of fact, let's do this now. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do sudo docker ps. Let's verify. As you can see, we have two containers running, and since we are going to change the connection to a different database, now it will be on the RDS, we need to access our container, okay, this container. So what I'm gonna do is I will just do sudo docker exec -it hacksite and bash. Okay, so I'm gonna hit enter, and as you can see, I'm already in my container, this container, the second one. Okay, and what I will do next is I will test if I can connect to our RDS. So I have this URL connecting to the RDS. The last time we checked, it's still not available. Let's verify again. Okay, so now it's configuring, enhancing, monitoring. So I think this may not take too long. Okay, maybe another minute or two. But here's what's gonna happen. If I do this, curl, and this is the URL of our RDS, plus the port, I specified the PostgreSQL port 5432. If I hit enter, oh, we're getting empty reply from server. This means the connection from our container to RDS is successful. Okay, so we're almost ready, or we're almost ready. So this is the final stage of completing the DB instance. But what we saw is that our applications, okay, can connect to our RDS. Okay, now it's also very important to know that we use a security group that's allowing TCP port 5432. Now, how do we check? Well, let's go to the security group configuration. Okay, and we have the Aurora SG that I created. Okay, as you can see, I added an inbound rules allowing TCP port 5432, which is PostgreSQL. And don't forget the outbound rules, which is a response. So I just allow all IP traffic. Okay. All right. As you can see, our StyxDB instance is now available. what I'm gonna do next is, let's go back to our container, okay? And we are going to copy all data from existing database and dump it as a JSON output, okay? I'm gonna do ls. And okay, so we will be using this Python script. I'm gonna use Python manage.py dump data, and then I will dump it to a file called all.json. There you go. Okay, so this content will be all JSON. So this content is the database content. It will be all JSON format. Now let's go back to instance connect. I will be specific to Styx blog 1. And what I will do is I will go to this directory, hack site, and then hack site Django, hack site Django again. So there's this file settings.py. Okay, now this settings.py, we're going to edit this. I'm gonna use nano space Styx.py, and we will simply change the database connection. Okay, so under, not this one, under database, there you go. Okay, you see there are existing parameters that are set. Okay, so the host, the name, the password, the user, the port, etc. We are going to change this. Why? Because we will be connecting to a different database now, the RDS. Okay, now as you can see, our EC2 1 is still working properly. We're still using the old database. Now what I'm gonna do is I will connect this to a new database. The first thing I will do is I'm gonna comment out host, name, password. I will keep the port because it will not change. It's still port 543. So I'm gonna comment this 4 lines, and I will add the new parameters there. Okay, so new host parameters, this is our URL to our RDS. The name of our database is Postgres, and the password is test1234, and the user is Postgres, which we left by default. All right, so this is it. I'm gonna save it now. I'm gonna hit Control O, hit enter. Now we are trying to connect to the new database. Let's test. If I hit refresh, oh, what is this? We are getting an error because the new database doesn't have data yet. Okay, now what I'm gonna do next is I will go back to our container, and I will run this command, python manage.py, okay, and migrate. I'm gonna hit enter. All right, so what's happening now is it loading the table from the existing migration files where the tables is or are defined to our new database, which is the RDS. Okay, and lastly, here's what I'm gonna do. Python manage.py load data -- format equal to JSON space all.json. So basically it will import data from all.json file, which is this dump file, to RDS. Okay, so good. Okay, we are not getting an error. Now let's test. So this is our EC2 1 or the Styx blog 1. It was getting an error because the database doesn't have any data yet. We completed the dumping of files. If I hit refresh, there you go, it's now successful. But here's the thing, this is only Styx blog 1. How about Styx blog 2? It's still not connected to the RDS. As I hit refresh, there you go, still not sharing the same database because we are still seeing XX blog 2. What I will do is very simple. Okay, you see I changed the database parameters in Styx blog 1. We're gonna do the same in Styx blog 2. So I will go to AWS sec, hack site Django, hack site Django again, and then I'm gonna nano settings.py. Now under settings.py, we will do exactly the same. Let's look for the database configuration and parameters. Okay, so I will comment host, name, password. I'm gonna leave port because it's not gonna change anyway. And I will add all 4 new parameters: host, name, password, user. I'm gonna save it. Okay, and now this is my Styx blog 1. This is my Styx blog 2. Okay, now what I'm gonna do is I will hit refresh. Now what will happen here is, there you go. You see that? What happened was, it's now sharing the same database of Styx blog EC1. Why? Because both EC2 are connected to the new RDS. Now, let's test the web application. Okay, so the web application using ELB, and we turn off stickiness. If I hit refresh, it doesn't load balance to EC2 1 and EC2. Actually, it load balance. Okay, it just doesn't look like it's load balancing because we are using the same data from a centralized RDS. And here's what I'm gonna do. I will log in as test user, and I will input my password. I'm gonna log in. Test 1, 2, 3. I'm gonna log in. As you can see, I am logged in successfully using ELB without sticky sessions. Comparing AWS ELB with F5 Big IP. You know, load balancing here in AWS is a little different because we manage not just the network and security side, but also the server, web application, and database as well. So, what do you think? Comment below if you have any questions, and don't forget to hit the like button.